stress can ultimately lead you to your grave. You know, just to keep it short and snappy. But what we're going to talk about today is what causes stress and why it's not just in your head and how it actually affects your whole body. So I want you guys to understand being stressed can genuinely, like I said before, lead you to your grave. I'll let Luke start off. Luke, you ready?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I think like me and Dills always say, we want to like make this as engaging as possible. So we'll stop and ask like people to jump in, thoughts, questions, and things. But yeah, ultimately, we want to educate you as well. So to begin with, yeah, stress and to get like the science out the way. When you are stressed, whether it's through work, whether it's through relationship, whether it's stress through fitness in general, putting stress in your body, there's something called cortisol which increases. And cortisol, there's good times, when you're training, it's going to elevate, which is good. You're breaking down your muscles, building back better. So it's not all bad. But when you have chronic stress and chronic cortisol, that's when it starts to be bad. So over time, if you do have that, a lot of the time that cortisol, some people say cortisol belly, where like a lot of your stress just gets stored in your belly. But all that is just you having body fat because you're stressed out. So when you're stressed, there's so many different things which will touch into, like, what the impact has on your sleep, the impact it has on food, your decisions. But to start with, the effect of cortisol, it is ultimately going to increase belly fat storage over time if we're not careful about it becoming chronic. So the big thing, I think, when it comes to this and that elevated cortisol is the impact it has on your decisions, and in particular your food decisions. When you are stressed out, a lot of us, we do it, we all do it. Something happens, you get a bad message, or something happens at work, and our first initial reaction is, all right, where's that chocolate? Where's that food that I rely on, and I go quickly and just grab it, and then we get that instant hit of dopamine. We feel good for about 5 minutes, and then we think, actually, why did I do that? So that's the main thing to take from when it comes to cortisol. And when you do get stressed, you're going to get those cravings more often. And it's obviously our goals here, a lot of us, is to lose body fat, to build muscle. So when we're, stressed out, that's not what we want, essentially. So we need to do things that can manage that. And it also interferes with your muscle growth and your recovery, as it says there. Not just, just because you've got cortisol, your muscles aren't going to recover, but not going to sleep as well, which is where a lot of the muscle growth and recovery happens. So that's going to impact that. It also does impact, when you are training, if you're very high in cortisol and you're not basically breaking down the muscle as you would do when you're in a de-stress state. So I think when it comes to cortisol, just think about the food, the impact it has on that, and the impact it has on your recovery, and how there is a good way that cortisol works in your training and breaking down your muscle. So that's the first thing. But just a quick question on that. Like, who here would say, when they do feel stressed out or something stressful happens, their first initial thought is, like around like grabbing something quick or quick, like snack or something like that. Anyone feel free to come off mute. You don't have to if you don't want to. I get it.
Yeah,
100%.
comfort eating type thing. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's normal. That's completely normal. So thank you for sharing. Like, it is a normal thing. Like, myself and Dylan will do it as well. It's not like we've just learned to not do that, but it's about ways that you can go forward and do it not as often, and it's a lot of behavior change and things like that. But yeah, elevated cortisol, whether it's in the morning or whether it's through a stressful text or whatever, will increase the likelihood of cravings and interfere with a lot of things that we've mentioned there. But yeah, that's why I just want to touch on cortisol quickly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Luke. And like I said, I'm not perfect either. I do, when I do get stressed out, do the exact same things. But I want to talk about sleep sabotage and just sleep in general, right? A lot of people, and you guys will learn this in the program. I know a lot of people that I'm currently tracking their sleep, and I can't stress how important sleep is. Sleep can be overlooked massively, especially because a lot of people think for them to achieve a result, you need the best training program, your best nutrition plan, and everyone just kind of neglects sleep and recovery. Like, people would go gym 4, 5, 6 times a week, and sleep is where the magic happens. It's where protein synthesis happens, and when you do sleep, this is where your body ultimately recovers. So if you don't have the correct stages to sleep, then your body won't recover. It's as simple as that. And a lot of people do neglect sleep massively. I mean, I did as well when I was at university, and yep, that got me feeling terrible in the morning. Energy crashes, poor recovery, higher injury of risk. And what you guys need to understand is the importance of sleep and why you guys need to prioritize it in terms of having that routine that suits you. Like before, like a couple of changes I've made recently since coming back from Bali was I would used to always have my phone next to me, and when the light used to shine up and a message would come on, my brain will be working. It'll see a message and I will be half in my sleep. Oh, I think someone's important message me, and that'll disturb my sleep. Now what I do is I have a rule to myself, and that rule is like before bed, like I separate my tasks. I use my bed just for sleeping. If I want to scroll on my phone, I have to do it in this chair because it's so easy to associate two habits to one thing. And what you guys need to do is separate it. And what you guys need to understand is how like the phone and having some sort of detox before bed is so important. So I'll allocate myself at least 1 hour before I go to bed to do my social media scrolling or catch up with a couple clients or just do what I need to watch a bit of telly. But as soon as I go to bed, I create that environment for myself. The best environment for you to sleep in is a dark environment. Like I can't sleep, devil tell you, I can't sleep when the lights are on or nothing. I need a pitch black environment because any light disturbs my sleep. But what you guys need to understand is what works best for you. How do you are you just scrolling on your phone, have your phone next to you, and then going straight to bed? Because what happens is your brains are working when you're sleeping, and that's not what we want to do. And this even all talks about eating late at night. If you eat too late at night and you go straight to bed, your body's digesting food while sleeping, and that can affect your sleep. So many things can affect sleep, but what I want you guys to understand is the power of sleep. Sleep is where it's like you charge your phone. This is where you charge your body. Because when you're operating at like, say if you charge your phone and it's on 2-3% in the morning, you're gonna crash. You're gonna feel like my language, but feel like shit. Genuinely. And I want you guys to understand and you guys need to prioritize this. And I know we're working one-on-one with certain clients and helping develop and sleeping routines. But what the first actionable step is knowing what is your sleeping routine? How do you wind down? A lot of people like to wind down in so many different ways. For me, I like to slap a bit of Netflix on, or just to cool my mind off. And then once I've done that, then I can be like, all right, cool, go in my bed and sleep. Because if I was to watch Netflix and then it'll affect so many different things, and that's been game changing. So what I recommend is 20 to 30 minutes before you go to bed. I know it's so easy to be stuck on your devices these days. Just spend some time just winding yourself down. I'm not saying you have to like read a book or do X, Y, Z. Everyone has their own way to wind themselves down, but allow yourself to do this. I mean, if you going off your work laptop and deal with a stressful message and then go back to sleep, it is going to affect. And that kind of leads upon waking up. Like I did say this in the last call. If you're waking up and the first thing you do is grab your phone, it's going to set a bad tone for the day. I mean, if you're waking up and you can see a stressful message, that's going to make your day terrible. I have a rule where okay, cool. Important messages, a phone call will go through. But Deb will tell you, I wake up, go straight into the shower, have a cold shower, freshen up, read my 10 pages a day, then come back to my phone. My phone does not contact me. Because the way the world's moving, the phone is dictating a lot of people in life. You need to understand how to control it. And what like I said, what I want you guys to understand is it's just the power of sleep. But look, do you have anything to add upon sleep?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on the last point there where it talk about sleep debt raises cortisol further. So just tying it back to the last point, like that the science is there and the importance of sleep and what it does. But in relation to that, even just like 1 week of sleeping less than six hours can raise your cortisol by over like 50%. So if you think about what we just discussed and the impact it has on, things like hunger cravings, things like recovery, if you're just sleeping 6 hours or less every single week, it's not just that you're going to be tired, but it's that it has those impacts every single it's going to impact a lot of things. But yeah, let Dev jump in.
I was just going to say, from a medical standpoint, obviously, having studied neuroscience, we study sleep and stress. And obviously, as Luke's saying, if cortisol is high, even when you're sleeping, these kinds of things are the things that damage your neurons. So, for example, the spiking and the connections between your neurons, those things get damaged, and like long term, that can have memory problems. During sleep, of course, not just your body clears out, but your brain clears out as well. And like all those metabolites do accumulate with people who have lack of sleep for the whole of their life, tend to like develop dementia
Mm.
earlier on, Parkinson's disease. All of these diseases are connected with um, having really bad sleep. So from a medical perspective, I would say don't neglect it as well.
Thank you for sharing, bro. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wow, Dev, you're adding your science into it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you for sharing. But yeah, Luke, I'm happy. You happy to move on?
Yeah. Next slide. Yes. So here we go. Let's get some gut health involved. I love all that. But yeah, literally, stress has such a big impact on so much, including the gut. And as it says there, it can alter your microbiome. So your microbiome is filled with good bacteria and bad bacteria, obviously. So if you're altering it by, stressing out your body and stressing out your inside, you're going to have more of that bad bacteria in your gut, essentially. I'm sure Dev will have a couple 2 pence to add in this as well. But your brain and your gut communicate via the vagus nerve. So it's basically, like I said before, your second brain, essentially. So when we're talking about this stress and why it has such a big impact, is that by having more of the bad bacteria in your gut through stressing out your body on the inside, it's not just like we said at the start, it's not just thinking you're stressed out, so you're just making these bad decisions. It's impacting your inside. So that bloating that you have, the constipation, the IBS, all these things, it's not necessarily gluten, for example. A lot of people just say it's gluten, but it's things like stress. It's things like not sleeping enough, which is causing more stress. Those things are going to impact how you digest food. For example, if you're eating in a stressed state, if you're at work and you're on a call and someone's having a go at you on the phone while you're eating your lunchtime sandwich, it's not going to get digested properly. You're going to get bloated, and it's just going to cause carnage, basically. So when you consider the gut brain axis and stress, just think about how it's going to impact how you digest food, for example, how you're feeling, your mood. A lot of serotonin, there's some people say 90%, but the research has shown that yes, your neurotransmitters are produced in the gut as well. And things like serotonin that make you feel happy are produced there. So if again you're putting more stress on that area, on your gut, your mood's going to suffer as well. You're going to potentially have more mood swings. You're going to not feel as great. You're going to be a bit more angry. All these things, they're linked to your gut and your gut brain axis. So when you're thinking about stress, just think, we're not telling you just because we want you to get big muscles. We're telling you because we want you to feel good on the inside and out. We want you to digest food better. We want to help your gut health. We want to reduce illness and potential diseases by doing things like controlling your stress. So when I say, think of something that you can do that works for you. Like I say, journaling might not work for you. Reading a book, going for a walk, whatever it is, it might not work for you. Find the thing that does. Take at least 5 minutes a day to manage your stress a bit better, and you'll notice that the differences, both inside and out, will come within a matter of weeks, days, and you'll just feel a lot better for it. But yeah, that's just wanted to cover that quickly. But Dylan, if you have anything to add, or even Dev, if you
So,
have anything to add.
where is my favorite client, Chaya? Chaya, are you here? Yeah, there you are. I want to let Chaya share something actually. So Chaya is currently works in a pharmacy, and she was not even allocating 30 minutes a day to even have her food at lunch. She'll be working in the pharmacy, you know. And I told her, me and Luke were like, right, make sure you have these 30 minutes to sit there and digest your food. Because if you're in a stressed environment, you're eating food quickly, your food's not going to digest. But obviously, ever since Chai's done that, Chai, could you jump in and tell me how you felt? Oh, I think you're on mute, by the way.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, it does make a difference. It does. It does definitely make a difference. Yeah, we're both the same. We're both the same. We just, a bite, phone call, a bite, phone call, customer, and now we actually sit down, have a break. I mean, it does help.
In terms of like what are the effects you felt ever since you made this change? Obviously, prior to when you're doing it.
You just feel refreshed. You actually, you I don't get acid. I used to get acid, gobbling down food quickly, and then later on you just feel
Yeah.
um um yeah, just yeah,
No, no,
don't digest it well. You just don't digest it well, basically.
of course, of course. I'm happy that you're finally taking time to digest your food. Remember, like, just leading to the gut, it's important that you're not in a stress environment when you eat as well, because yet again, that's going to affect your digestion. And I say that the rule of thumb when it comes to eating your food, have at least 15 to, I think it's 15 chews before you then swallow, because in that way your food actually digests properly. But remember, you do not want to be in a stressed state whilst eating your food as well. But Chaya, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Moving on. All right, cool. Oh, there you go. Immune system weakening. Okay. So who here feels like they've got like a very, very weak immune system? Okay. Vipul, why would you like, can you jump in and tell me why do you think you have a weak immune system?
Because when my daughter brings anything home from nursery, I get it. It's just to put it bluntly. I spent a lot of between October and March quite ill with various different colds, flus, you name it, stomach bugs. I got them all. And my wife didn't get as much, so I think that's quite telling.
Thank you for sharing. And yet again, like the immune system is, how should I put this? It's like it is the heart of everything. If you don't have a strong immune system, you're gonna be open to having diseases. You're gonna open to being ill quite often. And Dev, would you mind sharing your 2 pence about the immune system? I know you did some work on this in the past.
So yeah, the immune system is like what Dylan said, the heart of your body. Anything that comes inside will be met by the immune system, whether it's in your blood or your body, anything you eat gets processed. And something that a lot of people don't consider is like from a health perspective, for example, cancers that grow in your body are not recognized as self cells. And this is something that the immune system can usually deal with. If you've heard that stat, like 1 in 2 people in their life develop some sort of cancer in their body, it's true, but a lot of the times we don't notice it because it's either benign or your immune system deals with it. And that's why it's just really important to, as Luke and Dylan have linked sleep, have linked stress, have linked cortisol, the gut, all of these things impact each other. And just to note down what effect it can have all over your body, really.
Thank you for sharing, Dev. It was really good to get the more of a scientific perspective on things. But yeah, like chronic stress does reduce immune cell function, as Dev mentioned. So yeah, you can get ill quite quickly, and it's not even that. It's quite scary if you do have a very, very weak immune system, and it relates to like training disruption. If you have a weak immune system, you don't feel like training, miss workouts, inconsistency. And the main thing here is obviously when you're in the gym, creating a muscle fiber tears and trying to build that body. And if you have a weak immune system, your body won't recover. And if you have poor sleep, poor immune system, this is why like we look at everything. The reason why we get such good results in this space, and I'm happy can hold my hands up and say we're one of the best in the UK when in terms of getting results. It's the fact that we look at everything: sleep, stress, steps, energy levels. This is what separates us from every other coaching industry. Because for us to get the current result, we look at absolutely everything across the board. Why aren't you feeling this good? And yeah, it does lead from the immune system. But yeah, Luke, anything else to share with regards to this?
Yeah, I'm gonna link it back, and sorry, I keep banging on about it, but linking it to the gut immune question, gut immune connection. So literally, like your gut and your immune system are separated by a thing like a razor blade. Like the gut lining is like that thick. It's so minuscule that if your gut health is bad, you're gonna have a weaker immune system as a result. So that's why, like, when me and Dylan talk about nutrition, it's not just, like eat your protein bars, eat your protein puddings, get your protein in no matter what. It's other things like fiber, fermented foods, all that stuff. But stress, again, is such a thing that's overlooked. We all think we've got to take, supplements and this and that and do these crazy workouts and this, but it's just simple things like managing your stress, which is why we've done a whole thing on it that can, really help improve your gut health, which impacts your immune system, which impacts your training, which impacts your food choices. It's all interlinked. So all these things are so key. And today, obviously, we're talking about stress and how we can manage that. But yeah, if your basic, what I'm trying to say is, if your gut health is poor, and obviously we like to have a big focus on that and work on that, you're going to be more likely to have a weakened immune system, and as a result, get ill a bit easier. So if we work on that side of things, as well as, you know, everything else will come into play. You'll be able to absorb protein better. You'll be able to feel better, have a better mood, you know, be able, more productive in the gym, all those things. So yeah, in terms of immune system, it's all linked to your gut as well.
Thank you for sharing. And guys, like, if any point, if any of you have any questions, just feel free to jump in, because we want to make this as informational as possible. Right, next slide. Luke, jump in.
Yeah. So, like I said at the start, you know, like we're talking about stress here, and it's important to bear in mind that there are some good times when stress does help you out, and especially like when you are working out. So, you know, your cortisol will spike when you're in the gym a lot, you know, go up and down. But that is good. We want you to break down your muscle tissue. We want it to build back bigger and stronger. So that is a good thing. But if you are chronically stressed, which, by the way, stress, you know, we all get stressed on a day to day. But if you have chronic stress, which is long term, you know, you are stressed pretty much 24/7, your body's in a weak state because of that stress, your muscle mass will suffer as a result, because you'll have a slower metabolism, because your muscle's not going to be building, it's not going to get stronger. That's why when we say we want you to, you know, train and do these things, it's not because we want you to be standing in the mirror looking like Arnold. We want you to be strong and healthy. We want you to build that muscle so that you can, you know, you're going to be burning more fat as a result because you've got more muscle, all these things. So when it comes to the stress, you're going to have lower muscle mass as a result, because your cortisol is going to be higher, and as a result, your metabolism will be slower. So when we talk about working out, it's because of that. And even if you are training well, it's going to be hard to even burn calories if your cortisol is high. I like to relate it to, you know, fight or flight. If your body's in that stressed state, then it's going to be harder to burn body fat, because your body's going to want to keep some of it, essentially, to basically, you know, like deal with that stress or that emergency that it thinks is going to happen because you're in that stress state. So that's why when you're more relaxed, it just makes everything a lot easier. It makes everything a lot smoother, basically. So it impacts everything, but it also impacts how you grow and develop muscles. And we all want muscle to be strong. That's the end of it, basically.
Spot on. You pretty much nailed everything on the head there, bro. Well done. So decision fatigue and food choices. So, like, it leads from, yeah, it does lead from discipline. I would say that. And if you're not in the right state of mind, it's so easy to make decisions. I can hold my hands up and say, oh, I made some bad decision whilst being stressed. Whether that's skipped workouts and takeaways from instead of home cooking, or poor choices, and that does create more stress. It leads from the front in terms of setting that discipline in place. So, like, for me, I did touch upon this in terms of the productivity call last time. Is think ahead. What would a 2.0 version of you do? What would, like, it's so easy. Like, for me, like, I know what am I gonna do? What is a stress version of Dylan gonna end up doing? Because I like to think of myself in another version, another form of myself, right? So if I know, cool, that if I'm going undergoing stress, I need to make sure there's food in the fridge so I don't stress eat. Because I don't want to be opening my fridge and then looking at my fridge and be like, oh no, there's no food for today, and then bang, let me just get a takeaway. So you're thinking in advance in terms of, like, what would that 2.0 version of yourself do? And that's where it all boils down to discipline as well. Like, the more you understand yourself, the more you can deal with the food choices and just think about things more in advance. But is another thing I would say is the rule of two rule. Luke, you heard about that one before, right? I think I mentioned upon it last time. If it's okay to miss one thing, but if you miss it twice, it ultimately becomes a habit. So that's what I have to say in regards to that. Luke, anything about this?
No, I just wanted to touch on the three. It's basically showing this diagram here, showing the sort of loop, the habit loop that we discussed a couple weeks ago as well, where, you know, like, you get the stress from whatever it is, from the notification from work. It goes to the takeaway. or whatever food choice you make. But the last point is key, you know, because when you do make that choice that you know you're probably not going to be too happy with, that then is just going to create even more stress for you, because you're like, why did I do that? I know it's going to impact my journey. Like, what have I done? All or nothing. Like, it's a dangerous loop to be in. So we just want to basically, like we said before, break that habit loop and put things into place to deal with it when it does come. So stress, like I say, it's gonna happen. You know, it's impossible to go through life with zero stress. So it's just about us now, all myself and Dylan, putting the systems in place for you to be able to now move forward. And when it does happen, okay, do I have, for example, an emergency snack drawer? Do I journal when I feel stressed? Because I know that if I do that, I know that I'm not gonna go for that poor choice. What do I do now to manage that stress, to not make the food choice that I know isn't going to be great for me? And it's about basically disrupting that habit loop going forward. But yeah, I think even if you think like to yourself now, like, if if I am stressed, do I have that certain food that I go for? Because mine is toast. I'll be honest. Like, if I'm stressed, there's a slice of toast straight into the toaster. Like, we can all think and sit here right now. Like, there is a food, I can guarantee everyone's thinking of it, that is what they just turn to, and that's just through habit. So just identify that. Know that, okay, when I do crave that, I know that it's through this. Oh, okay, Luke and Dylan, this is what I do crave. Like, what can I do about it? Can I make a smart decision with it? Can I pair it with something? What do I do? So yeah, that's just something to bear in mind with that.
Thank you for sharing, Luke. I mean, I'm not gonna put anyone on the spot, but I'm gonna put my brother on the spot. I mean, he's on his first program. Um, but I told him, I swear to God, I'll have dinner, and first thing he would do after his dinner, we'll eat dinner together. He'll turn, yo, Dylan, I fancy something sweet. I fancy something sweet. Go straight to the chocolate box which my dad has, grabs a 12, and I grabbed his hand. Bro, are you sure you want to do that? And he's like, yeah, I fancy something sweet. But now we've like we removed that emotion from him because he fancies something sweet. So what we've done is we've kind of created an option around it. So he has a Greek yogurt bowl. Um, okay, my bar is around right now, so we've had like my grandma's around, so we had like cool feet ice or something, just a low calorie version of that. So there's so many different like opportunities, and like what you need to do is like, okay, what do you turn to? Cool, that's what you turn to. What are the alternatives? So Dev can jump in and share like how has it been that transition then? Talk to me, Dev.
No, it's been good. Obviously, when I used to do it, I was on my own, so it felt like there was no repercussion if I did it. But obviously, then you get to a point where if you do it for a long time, you start to deal with problems. But that's what I did in Luca here, to not like put you down for doing it. You know, I know chocolate's bad. It's not something I'm like ignoring. But when you have people who don't like, they don't put you down for it, but try to find a way for you to still do it, but also feel satisfied, then eventually you do get over it. And I'm not going to say I fully am. There's still this, it's obviously still a process, but it's definitely got better. And I've seen, obviously, I've had a big problem with my gut health. That's got better even over the last week. So yeah,
No.
trust, trust in the process, you know?
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Sorry for putting you in the spot, by the way. But yeah, that's what I thought I'd just bring a live example of my brother. So hidden stresses you don't really notice. Okay, first thing's overtraining. I will say this, and like when you guys get further into your program, I don't think who's here and put in the program. No, no one's really kind of touched phase two yet. Um, there's a section called HRV. You guys might have seen it in your program, and that comes along around week 6, 7, 8. So once we get right now, a lot of people, a lot of you guys on the first phase of the program, and the first phase ultimately understanding yourself. However, when we push you to more of an intensive exercise, our first thing we look at is, are you recovering? If your body's not recovering, we will drop back the volume. So it's one of the things where like I've had clients, some really, really big transformations on our page. Like I would I'll show it to you guys later. But Josh was a footballer. He was training 5 times a week, had football games, was training in the gym 4 times, like training really hard. Pushed him into phase two. He was not making any progress. Why? His body was not recovering. So overtraining can be like a big, big factor. But the HRV section, guys, is used for a reason, and that will be implemented in all your programs around week 5, 6, 7. And Shai, when you come back, for example, you're the closest one to now phase 2. We're going to be looking into this. Is your body recovering? Because now what we're doing is we're transitioning from that phase 1 to now the more of intensive workouts, which we're doing in phase 2. So just so you guys understand, overtraining is massive, and do not neglect this. Number 2 is digital overwhelm. Constant social media news, creating constant alertness is just not good for yourself. Like I've such a bad habit. Like even this morning, guys, I'm gonna hold my hands up and say I get about 800, 900 WhatsApp notifications every single day, pinging at different times. It affects my workflow. You guys might have even seen it in your check-ins. I'll be like, oh, someone's messaging me, ping, 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 ping. Now my mind is naturally stressed. So this morning, what I had to do is literally, I don't know if you guys can see there's a drawer here. I got my phone here, open the drawer, in and silent, out of sight, out of mind. Any like ping or any notification can create a negative thought and stress in your mind. So me even hearing oh, this is going off, this is going off, it stresses me out, guys. And this is why, like with WhatsApp communication, I will get to WhatsApps. I'll get back to WhatsApps around, you guys roughly know, like 7 a.m. and then I shut off at 8 p.m. There's a reason why I do that, because otherwise I'll just get way too overwhelmed. Because what we offer as a service is 24/7. But yet again, like if I was not operating at the best version of myself, I can give a piece of myself to you guys. You see what I'm trying to say here? So be aware of how digital overwhelm or news can do this. I mean, I'm not gonna like I don't know, like my grandma, my dad, all these people grew up watching TV, right? And I mean, they always like slap on the news at like 8 or first thing in the morning, they'll watch news. And I'm like, Dad, you know you're just watching news, and the majority of the news that's going to be on TV is negative. And I'm like, why would you want to watch that? And he's like, oh no, it's part of growing up. I get it, it's part of growing up. Personally, if the news was that important, I would know about it through like social media and stuff. But yet again, it's like waking up, turning on that TV, something stressful, bang, digital overwhelm. Excess of caffeine. I was speaking to Donovan about this today. I had an in-person session with him prior to jumping on his call. Like, caffeine is so, so important. And caffeine is one of the most used drugs in the world. And what I want you guys to understand is how many, like, for example, I had literally this conversation with Donovan literally an hour ago when I was training with him. How many coffees do you have a day? When you have a coffee too late in the day, it can affect your sleep cycle. Secondly, do you have coffee for the sake of it or have coffee because you need it? Personally, I have a rule where a lot like Donovan, for example, we're bringing him down from 4 coffees to now 2 a day. Why? Because the extra two, three he doesn't need, he just needs it for like he feels like he needs it, not wants it. So what you need to understand is, okay, cool. I said to Donovan, right? If I was to take all the 4 coffees away, how would you feel the next day? He said to me, Dylan, I would feel like crap. And your body's got used to so X amount of caffeine. So what you need to do is slowly reduce. And I only drink coffee when I need it. Okay? I have a button. I'll press that button. I'll be like, right, cool, I need it. Then I'll take it. But some people are just taking coffee for the sake of it. And it can mess up your cortisol. It can mess up your sleep cycle, especially. And the days when you don't go without of it, crashes. I've seen people crash, crash, crash. Like now, I'm currently on. Like today, I was working inside the house and just working with a lot of client fulfillment and stuff. So I had 2 coffees. But I know tomorrow, right, I'm gonna do my best not to have X amount. So if you guys try and avoid caffeine, do. But I mean, but just what I'm saying is just don't become reliant on it. And I'll let you know what, Mr. Got Health, talk to me.
I think I've spoken enough about that. I wanted to come off this cool thing, and I'm like, yeah, no. I think yeah, we spoke a lot. I think it's covered a lot. But I just want to like get like you said, we want to make this engaged as possible, and just wanted to ask a quick question, just in general, like what people, when you get stressed, like where do you first feel it? You know, is it your gut? Is it your head? You get headaches? Like, do you feel tense in the shoulders? Like, I'm just intrigued to see where people's stress comes from.
Is this where we share?
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting everyone involved. Yeah, anyone come off mute or raise the emoji hand button thing.
I can't. I don't see an emoji hand button. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just go for it. Go for it.
Go for it, Beth. Go for it.
Okay, well, about sleep, I read Sean Stevenson's book, Eat Better, Sleep Better, and made sleep the centerpiece of my health. He said your body can see light, not just your eyes. And I keep my computer and my phone in the living room.
Mm.
And I like, just like Dylan is saying, I make sure I cover every single light and darken my curtains. And it did revolutionize my health. I do kind of have a question. It seems my body just wants to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night now. Or, you know, you guys have heard of the circadian rhythm, right? That your body responds to light.
Yep.
And that you're supposed to get up and get that light on your eyes. And no caffeine past 1 o'clock. And magnesium. But thanks to you guys, I take half the magnesium I used to take when I started digesting food slowly, the way you all recommended. It cut my magnesium in half.
Nice.
So I was already there with sleep, but I'm just letting the group know that and also it's shocking that sometimes your body needs 9 hours, not just 7. Athletes, especially world-class athletes, we're talking about 9 hours of sleep. I do want to talk about stress short. You all are, Luke and Dylan know that I've had a problem of feeling lonely. And when I come home, I want to eat food. I have the opposite problem, Dylan. If food is in my house, I'll eat anything. You know, I've had this feeling like I can't have any food in my house at night. I'm trying Luke's journaling thing. I think my question though is sometimes I'm sure others can relate. Something comes into your life that's a very stressful situation that's not going to be resolved in 3 days. You know, like it's an ongoing, constant stressor. So like right now, I'm not stress eating because for some reason I just don't care. I just don't care. But if I start feeling that stress again, I don't know. Can anyone else relate to this? You've done a great job. You've documented your food all day, and you've done everything perfectly, and you drank all the water. And then I get home, and I have this sort of empty feeling at night, like I just want to eat something. I don't know. I've been eating more protein,
Go on, Deb.
and it's helping.
Beth, I think Deb wants.
But
No, I was
yeah.
going to say, Beth, same, because I'll eat healthy during the day. I'll eat lunch healthily. I'll work out. I'll get my steps in. I'll have my dinner. When it comes to the last bit of my day, just fall short, and it happens sometimes.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I agree. It does happen sometimes, like there are stresses. There's minor stresses, something like, like a little notification on your phone. There's something like that that will pop up. And then there's other stresses. So I was listening to a podcast the other week about this, and it's like, sometimes there are genuine stresses that are ongoing, like you said, months to years of just this thing just keeping on going. And yeah, like with those things, you're not gonna just it's not just gonna stop, and you're not just gonna, de-stress through journaling, for example. In those times, it's just the mindset that every day, can I do something that's gonna move the needle? Can I keep consistent with something that is gonna keep me on track? You're not gonna be perfect 100% of the time in that specific moment. So you've just got to do what you can to stay on track with it, and not, do too much that's going to derail absolutely everything. And just focus on a day to day with that, because yeah, there's sometimes where it's not just a minor stress, and it's a bigger stress that is coming in your life for a long term period. And when it happens in those moments, it's not going to be easy. It's just about doing what you can consistently on a day to day to stay on track with things. But again, like they've said, it's completely normal to have us like. I think some people have sweet tooths, some people have savory. Like Dylan will tell you about me a couple of years ago. My sweet tooth was insane, and I couldn't control it. But over time, it does get easier, and you build the habits, and that's the things that we're trying to implement with these systems. Is those habits that are going to make it easier. It's like the protein, the fiber in every meal, those things. Like it might get boring. You keep hearing me saying it. Where's your fiber? Where's your protein? But there's a reason to say these things. Your gut health. There's a reason I bang on about it, because a lot of the time that's where cravings come from as well, and sometimes it is just stress. So yeah, I don't want to waffle on at you too much, but sometimes it's completely normal, and it will happen, but just try and keep consistent as much as possible, and you'll be okay in the long run.
Thank you for sharing, Beth and Dev. I really appreciate it. And that leads me on to stress reducing actions. And funny enough, I was actually listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and movement breaks, and it talks about what's more challenging, you being in your mind, stuck in your mind, or moving your body. Because sometimes that hard workout can generally change your mental health. Doing that workout, getting out, creating some movement in your body. Because recently in the morning, I hold my hands up and saying, I have been stressed. We've had a lot of new clients join. We're trying to give our best of our service. I do feel overwhelmed in the mornings. I hold my head up and say that. Like, I'll be in bed. I spent like wake up 5 minutes. I know I need to go for a shower, to get a cold shower, to get myself feeling good. But if I'm just there lying in my bed and just in me and my emotions, I feel terrible. I genuinely feel so bad. But if I was just to move, go for a walk. I've been going for a walk. I know Dev's been literally walking in the mornings as well. It's crazy how movement can distract your mind and do this. And I can't stress how important movement breaks are. Very, very important. I mean, everyone has their own routine, schedule, job. Completely understand that. But I can't stress creating some sort of movement, whether that's in the morning, in the evening, scheduling time in. I know Chai goes for walks after a dinner, and Baz. I know Dev's been walking in the morning. I know it's all these small steps that does make a difference, genuinely. And I think, Luke, I don't know what it was, but there was this podcast. It talks about when you move your body, like some people, like for me, like for gym is not even gym for me anymore these times. I do gym for my mental health. Like if I don't train, I do move my body, I feel bad. So that's I just want to touch about a bit about movement. I can't stress how important movement is. Like that naturally stresses me, like de-stresses me. I feel so good after a little walk or getting some fresh air compared to me being at home behind a desk all day. Second thing is caffeine after 1 p.m. I mean, everyone has their own rule. I know me growing up in an Indian household, and I think some of you guys can relate. Some people have chai or tea. Like my own mum will have it like 6, 7 p.m. and then go straight and knock off to sleep. But their caffeine's built different. But everyone is different. Everyone is completely different. Everyone has their own caffeine. But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, again, don't become reliant on caffeine and understand your sleep cycle. Beth touched upon this a bit earlier, and morning sunlight exposure. I have my curtains set so when sunlight does come in, it naturally wakes me up, and that's how we kind of programmed. When it's dark, we go to sleep. When the sun wakes up, and that naturally waking up naturally is the best feeling. Before I was stressed, I'd be waking up to alarms. I'll turn that alarm off. Now I wake up naturally. I know when and then today I woke up an hour early. You guys probably saw a message from me like, no way, Dill's messaged me at 7 o'clock this morning. But my point is like you just naturally will get that through the gratitude journey, and this is something I've been implementing this last week, and this has been a struggle for me. Like when you wake up, like I said, when you go on your phone every single morning, like if you were to wake up and just grab your phone in the morning, you're gonna see people's highlights of their best life. Oh, they're in Dubai, or they're in London, they're in Paris. Everyone posts what they're gonna post, and that's naturally, oh, I want to chase this goal. Got a couple business owners like Baz, maybe. Oh, you know what? I want to create this new business company. But what I'm trying to say here is gratitude. What are you grateful for on a daily basis? What I've done recently, and I've been taking notes here on my little notepad, is what do I feel grateful for on a day-to-day basis? I wake up, have my cold shower, no phone. I don't say I have to do any of this. I just what works best for me. read my 10 pages, then write down 2 things a day what I feel grateful for. For me today, I'll happily share it, my family, and I've got a roof over my head. A lot of people don't have that. That naturally, writing this down, naturally grounds you genuinely. And it's only been a week since I've actually been on this. I've been so grounded. And like I said, it's all down to what works best for you. But gratitude really de-stresses me and keeps me lower. Luke, jump in.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that. I think Dill sharing that's brilliant because it shows you that, like, but like I say, it doesn't work for everyone, but I think definitely consider it because even just a simple thing, like you say, like a roof over your head or something like that. The reason I raised my hand because I actually just opened my own journal to a random page, and someone in this chat is gonna is gonna have a little laugh at this. But my journal has prompts, and it says, gratitude, today's highlight, nutrition, quotes, and today's highlight. I done this in the morning on the other day, and it says seeing Baz do his squats, and
Yes, yes.
and like literally, it's just something as simple as like just waking up and seeing that on the group chat. Like when you think like about this world now, we're also fixed on the end goal and how's our life going to look in 40 years time or whatever. But if you start really living in the moment, using things like this to manage your stress better, you'll notice how much easier things like fitness, things like nutrition, making smart choices will become. And it's just little things that, like Dill's put perfectly, it just grounds you and makes you really think like what actually does matter on a day-to-day basis. Like, is it that call that I got from a customer that annoyed me? Like, is that really that deep in the grand scheme of things? So yeah, just daily stress reducing action. I'm aware of the time, and obviously we're running short, like running close to, but yeah, just wanted to get that in there and just make you aware of how key these little things can be for you.
Jump in, Dev.
Big up Baz, by the way.
Big up, Baz. Yeah. Dev,
Yeah,
jump in.
just that say something quick. Obviously, journaling, you naturally think you're sitting down and writing something down, but journaling can also be getting your voice memos or like putting your phone down to record you literally talking about what you're showing gratitude to. It could be like you waking up early with your partner and you're both just telling it to each other. That's also a form of journaling. Just because you don't write it down doesn't mean it's not. So whatever way you find more comfortable still has the same impact on your brain. And so, do it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Dev. And that leads me on to the lifestyle tweaks. Tracking your resting heart rate in HRV. This is always, I always scream data, 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 data. And like I said, data does tell you. And a lot of people have Fitbits. A lot of people, clients, when they join us, high stress, we can see their natural resting heart rate naturally decrease over time because they're starting to implement these things in day-to-day life. And this is the most important thing, like starting your day, a calm start to your day in the start in the morning. It's important to get your mind ready for work, mind ready for bed. Because like even for me, like when I was living in Thailand in Bangkok, I would literally wake up, go straight out the doors, get a coffee, sit there, and just watch the world go by for a good 10 minutes. Like that was nothing would top that morning in Bangkok. Sun shining, nice coffee, just to get my head ready to start the day. Limit alcohol consumption because alcohol, don't get wrong, alcohol it can be an escape, but what when you guys understand is the thermic effect it has on your body, like recovery, all this stuff. So do limit it and be aware of that. And delegate low task value. So what I mean, like I like to do the more higher priority task in the day, get it done first thing in the morning, like eat that frog, say that dragon, you must have heard me before, say that before. But yeah, just delegate low value tasks. But that leads me on to the last presentation. Like I said, it's all good, me and Luke saying this about stress, about breaking and building a routine, but we want to create a weekly action plan for you guys to lower your stress by next week. Luke, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, obviously at the start of the call we touched on it, and we talked about has anyone put in the actions yet from last week, and obviously some people said they've done stuff, some people said they haven't implemented it yet, and it's just we want these calls to be as educational, engagement, community, everything, but we also want you to take stuff from it and then put it into action because once you do and start doing these things, that's when you're going to see the results and in both. We're not just here to do fitness to lose weight and build muscle. We're here to build like the strongest version of you in absolutely everything. And these things that we cover week in, week out are the core pillars of that. So if we like do all this, me and Dylan as well have got to, put stuff into action week in, week out to better ourselves each day. and it doesn't have to be massive, you know, just two daily stress reduction actions, even if it's turning your phone off a bit earlier, not having 4 cups of coffee, having 3, you know, small habits is a big thing that I want everyone to like think from our perspective. It is, you don't need to do absolutely everything at once, but small habits over time is what's going to get us to where we want to be. So yeah, there's a little action plan here for everyone. If you want to take a screenshot, we can take a screenshot, put it in. But just what we want to do is take on board everything we've said. I know we've said a lot, so sorry about that, but take it on board and put it into action. And if you do have any questions about absolutely anything, just let us know. And if anyone has any immediate questions, just feel free to come off mute and ask away. If not, Tottenham are playing PSG. So